People of the world, hello and welcome. Marketing as a Foreign Language, episode 54. Today on the show, Facebook publishes latest update on content removals, fake accounts, hate speech, and more. Facebook closes loophole which enabled political activist groups to advertise as news sites. TikTok has been in the news a lot lately. Twitter looking for a way in. Microsoft facing staff backlash. What's going to happen with the TikTok? SEO worldage. 7 habits of highly ineffective SEO professionals. Google may lose market share when this change rolls out. All that today on Marketing as a Foreign Language. Oh me, oh my, who doesn't love an intro? Boom. Okay. Facebook publishes latest update on content removals, fake accounts, hate speech, and more. Facebook has published the latest version of its Community Standards Enforcement Report, which outlines all of the policy and rule violations that Facebook has taken action on across both Facebook and Instagram over the preceding 3 months. The latest version of the report utilizes a new layout to present the data, which is essentially a large page of charts. Who doesn't love a large page of charts? Let's see. It looks like our restream is having a bit of a funky fresh. Nope. Looks like good here. Is it working? Is it not working? Who knows? So much confusion. So much wondering if restream is working. It says we're online, so we're going to go with it. Okay. So we've broken out some of the keynotes from the data below to highlight the latest shifts, though it is also worth noting that Facebook's enforcement efforts in the last quarter have been impacted by staffing shifts due to COVID-19. So latest update on content removals, fake accounts, and hate speech. So, quote, with fewer content reviewers, this is Facebook, we took action on fewer pieces of content on both Facebook and Instagram with crazy stuff, suicide, self-injury, etc., so Facebook continuing to police the internet. First off, Facebook took a lot more action on hate speech in the quarter, up almost 10 times on the same period back in 2018. So they are growing their ability to knock off the madness. Facebook credits that on improvements to its technology and expanding its detection to more languages. Quote, our proactive detection rate for hate speech on Facebook increased 6 points from 89% to 95%. In turn, the amount of content we took action on increased from 9.6 million in Q1 to 22.5 million in Q2. I don't think I'm actually live right now, and that is a problem. Why would that be? Trying to figure this out, everybody. Technical glitches abound. They abound. Oh my gosh, there we go. So much live, so much winning. That was 23 hours ago. So are we live? Are we not live? What? Oh my gosh, we are so totally live. There we go. Had to hit the refresh button. Okay, so there's still a significant concern. Comments from President Trump have far more reach and influence than virtually anybody else, but still it's worth noting for context that Facebook is taking increased action. So the basic idea here is that Facebook is spending more time trying to attack hate speech on its platform. Here we've got systems detecting more hate speech on the platform as well. So up from 809,000, I suppose, instances to 3.3 million. Content from dangerous organizations is also being removed more often on Instagram, which could also suggest that more of these groups are turning to the app to spread their message. So it could be that people are simply leaving Facebook and moving towards Instagram. Or again, that Facebook is simply getting better at detecting it. One can only hope. Most of the other numbers reported by Facebook are in line with ongoing averages, though bullying and harassment concerns did see a rise on Instagram, up from 1.5 million to 2.3 million. This may be due to limited avenues for appeal, which saw more of these claims upheld in the quarter. So overall, the data, according to Social Media Today, does suggest that Facebook is doing more to address some key areas of concern. And Facebook's looking to take that further, commissioning an independent audit of its processes to ensure it's doing all it can. Oh, good. Who doesn't love an independent audit? Am I right? I certainly do. Facebook closes loophole, which enabled political activist groups to advertise as news sites. So as we head towards the U.S. presidential election, which is in a very short period of time, I cannot believe it, Facebook is looking to close a loophole in its political ad transparency process, which has seen some activist groups pose as local news outlets in order to avoid listing their political affiliations. What? So apparently, people are posing as local news outlets, which seems a bit sketch. As per Facebook's ad policy, all pages in the U.S. that have, quote, direct meaningful ties to political entities are required to go through Facebook's ad authorization process in order to run ads about social issues, elections, or politics. That's what they're supposed to do. I'm reminded of some of the ads that Google is running. I don't know if you knew about this, but I'm going to type in personal injury attorney. If you want information about these guys, see this little arrow here? You can always just click right here. Boom. Click on why this ad, and it'll tell you who it's from, and then what they Google machine based the reason why you see the ad. So based on current search terms, and then you can turn off ads from them. You can also report ads. So if anyone is being cranky or weird, you can always do that via Google. But we are not talking about Google. We're talking about Facebook. When approved, that then sees a paid for by disclaimer added to their ads along with other transparency info. So apparently we are going to be able to see a paid for by disclaimer, which I think is a good idea. Some activist groups have avoided this extra level of transparency by running their ads as news, which is exempt from the same regulation. So I see what they did there. So I don't see how they're pretending to be a local news group. It seems that they're just running their ads as if it's news. But as reported by Axios, Facebook's now changing its rules to end such misuse. Pages on Facebook belonging to news outlets that are backed by political groups or people will still be allowed to register as a news page and advertise at Facebook, but they will no longer be eligible for inclusion in the Facebook News tab, and they won't have access to news messaging on the Messenger business platform or in the WhatsApp API. So the policing continues. The problem has been significant. According to Axios, reporters and researchers have found that more than 1,200 instances have occurred over the last 4 years in which politically affiliated groups have used websites disguised as local news outlets to broadcast their views. Anything to change the needle, apparently. People have done what we could refer to as unethical things in order to sway political opinion. It's a logical update, according to Social Media Today, and while it won't address all of the various concerns with Facebook's political advertising approach, how could it possibly, nor its amplification from certain perspectives through its engagement-focused algorithm, it's another way for Facebook to crack down on those looking to use the system to manipulate public opinion. Tik Tok Takeover update. Twitter looking for a way back in, Microsoft facing staff backlash. So only 35 days left to negotiate the buyout. We've been covering this on all of the episodes of Marketing as a Foreign Language lately. The United States government, to catch you up, is apparently saying, TikTok, you need to sell to an American company or we're going to shut you down. This, of course, is overt manipulation of the price of a company. And I wonder if this is going to set a precedent globally. So thus far, only one company has publicly stated that it's looking to purchase the short-form video app. But in recent days, 2 more organizations have reportedly expressed an interest in buying the app, though in slightly altered form to the Microsoft proposal. On Saturday, the Wall Street Journal reported that Twitter had held preliminary talks about a potential combination with TikTok, which would enable the platform to continue operating in the US in partnership with Twitter. That inspired many mocking tweets from those within the tech sector. Quote, didn't Twitter already own Vine, which was essentially TikTok before TikTok? The idea that Twitter might want to go down that road again seems odd. That is true. Why would they want to buy TikTok when Vine was essentially TikTok and it failed? Is it because, I don't know. Is it the shiny new object syndrome? I would think that it is shiny new object syndrome, especially considering TikTok is in largely the same position as Vine, was at its peak with significant cultural success, but limited avenues for monetization. I would argue that these social media sites clearly have monetized quite well. And the issue with Vine, I think, was that it was so short. TikTok does not have that issue. Add to the fact that TikTok is currently being valued at around $30 billion, while Twitter is at $29 billion. There would clearly be some significant hurdles to overcome in any such deal. If any billionaires are out there listening and are interested in purchasing TikTok, it is pretty much for sale. And it's going to be a lot cheaper than it was, given the fact that the United States government is thinking of shutting them down. We don't have much detail to go on, but the reported talks have more focused on a partnership type arrangement as opposed to a takeover, which also seems strange. Sure, short form video is in Twitter's wheelhouse, and improved integration of TikTok sharing on Twitter could work in a way, but TikTok also has modern concerns, the censorship issues, the fact that the Chinese-owned company has been copying information from clipboards, privacy concerns, etc. The challenges TikTok that faces moving forward have not been key areas of strength for Jack Dorsey and company. In essence, it's fair to say that a potential Twitter takeover of or tie up with TikTok is a long shot, if it's any shot at all. I don't know about that. You've got Microsoft interested in bidding on TikTok. I don't know who else really would be interested in purchasing the company, but it would be hard to not see the value, the potential value in purchasing the company when, again, their price is going to precipitously fall, given the fact that they're simply going to be banned in short order. So Andrew Hutchinson, the author of this particular article, writes, but as Yoda says, there is another. Reports have also just suggested that investment from Sequoia Capital, which first invested in ByteDance, which is the owner of TikTok, back in 2014, is also looking at ways in which it might be able to wrest the U.S. operations of TikTok from the company in order to keep the app alive. So much love to Lanesia Todd and Jennifer for hitting the like button on the Facebook Live. Much appreciated. Trying to also get YouTube Live to show up at the same time so I can read the comments there. So apologies to my YouTube folks if you guys are... oh, there we go. I think I figured it out. There, I've done it. Oh my gosh. I am slowly but surely learning things about stuff and things. Okay. All right. So anyway, so as per the Wall Street Journal, Sequoia's global managing partner in recent weeks has been pressing contacts in the Trump administration, including Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, who looks like, what's his name? John Oliver, and senior White House advisor Jared Kushner to craft a solution that would enable TikTok to keep operating in the U.S., according to people familiar with these discussions. So, will TikTok be purchased by a company in the United States? It's anyone's guess as far as I am concerned. 7 habits of highly ineffective SEO professionals. So, as an SEO professional, largely I find these articles to be garbage. So let's make fun of this one. Julie Joyce writes 3 hours ago, being ineffective at any job is a bad thing. Being an effective SEO professional is an especially bad thing because our work can make or break a client. This is true. Putting too much focus on certain metrics without looking at anything else. This, of course, is a problem for many SEOs. If you do not have CallRail on your website, if you are not tracking phone calls clearly, you do not know what you're doing. So she writes, this seems to be especially an issue with link builders. That's true. Maybe the site is new, for example. Let's say you're building links and you happen upon a site that has a Hrefs domain rating of 15, but it's relevant to your client, the content is good, the traffic on the site is building, and overall, outside of the lower DR, you want a link there. Do you walk away from the chance to get a link just because of that one metric? Plenty do. So when we talk about link building, I would argue that given the fact that it's 2020, the links that you should be building are largely from social media. I know a lot of SEOs would get cranky with me saying that, but I do believe that it is all about the content development in 2020, and there's a good chance that building links is just going to hurt you as much as it would help you, unless you are buying links. I shouldn't say that. Not buying links, unless you are earning links from legitimate places on the internet, and many places allow you to buy them insofar as you could sign up for like a BNI group and get a link from their website. That's, quote, buying a link, but getting you the link that you are interested in. So to me, there is no one metric that can tell me that the site is perfect fit for my client. I'd go so far as to say that multiple metrics alone also don't give you as much information as you need. We get it. They don't like testing or trying something new. Almost anything can be improved in some way, so it's important to be open to trying to see if one way of doing something works a bit better. A/B testing is the buzzword in social media. Do you want to A/B test your Google ads? That is for sure. Do you want to A/B test your SEO? Well, I suppose you'd have to create multiple blogs in order to do something even closely resembling that. The takeaway, obviously, is that you want to, try new things. Articles like this are the absolute worst. They don't try to understand what their clients actually do. I don't want to understand what you're writing in this article. Moving on, Google may lose market share when this change rolls out. Matt Southern at Search Engine Journal today writes, Google is estimated to lose mobile market share when Android starts prompting users to select their own default search engine. Okay, so apparently Android is going to allow us to choose a search engine. A study commissioned by DuckDuckGo, which I actually recently started using, finds Google will lose mobile market share when Android's search preference menus start rolling out to users. A search preference menu will prompt users to select their own default search engine when setting up a new Android phone. Okay, so apparently all the money in the world isn't enough for Android to use Google. I assume Google has a vested interest in having their search engine be the default. So why would Android allow people to choose? According to DuckDuckGo's research, if given the choice, 24% of people in the US, 24% in the UK, and 70% in Australia would select a non-Google search engine. Who's picking Bing? Anybody? Anybody picking Bing? Based on those figures, DuckDuckGo estimates Google's mobile market share will drop by 20 to 22% and 16% respectively. What? How can that possibly be? You don't think people are going to pick Google on Amazon? I think they're going to pick Google. At the present time, Google's share of the mobile search market is 95% in the US, 98% in the UK, and 98% in Australia. Even Google loyalists would at least check out some other search options, I guess, if presented with different choices. The study finds, quote, this user testing also shows people will scroll to check out their options before making a search engine selection, meaning Google could be placed on the last screen of any search preference menu. I don't know, man. I think people are going to pick Google. Google is only being forced to implement such search preference menus in Europe, but DuckDuckGo is hopeful the change could be rolled out elsewhere. So they're being forced to implement the search preference menus. Ew. In an effort to encourage regulators in other countries to adopt search preference menus, DuckDuckGo has been publishing a series of studies to demonstrate how user behavior would change. The studies could prove to be convincing, especially to U.S. regulators. I guess in Europe, they have an incentive to kind of mix up the pot, so to speak, because Google obviously is an American-owned company. Here are some highlights from DuckDuckGo's latest study on this subject. DuckDuckGo conducted live large sample user testing with 12,000 people across the US, UK, and Australia. Participants interacted with DuckDuckGo's mock-up of what a search preference menu might look like. All right. So how annoying would that be if you're Google and the first few options are Bing, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo, and Ask? I like Ecosia. Your searches power the planting of trees across the globe. That's cool. That is cool. Maybe people would pick that. Of the 12,000 participants, 9,000 interacted with the search preference menu. In the US, specifically, 3,000 users were shown a preference menu where Google was placed on the first screen. More prominent placement in the menu did not affect how often Google was selected as the default search engine. So there was no statistically significant difference in how often users selected Google. Of course, fewer users selecting Google as their default search engine would mean greater market share for competitors. We get it. DuckDuckGo finds that non-Google market share would rise from 4.9 to 24.2% in the US with search preference menus. Really? So DuckDuckGo stoked about these search preference menus. So they're being imposed on Google by European regulators. The European Union takes issue with the fact that Google sets itself as the default search engine on its own operating system. Google's practice of setting itself as the default search provider on Android was ruled illegal under EU antitrust rules. As a result, Google was hit with a record-breaking $5 billion fine. What? Am I totally frozen? No, I'm not. To appease regulators, Google must now implement preference menus on Android devices. It's not known exactly when this change will roll out, but the change is coming. Google's under no obligation to roll out search preference menus worldwide. The change is only expected to launch in Europe. If DuckDuckGo gets its way, however, search preference menus would be much more ubiquitous. Wow. How about that? So, today, I want to say episode 55, if you can even believe it. Episode 55. What's up, YouTubers? What's going on, people on YouTube? We're restreaming on Facebook right now. Can you believe it? Oh, technology. Facebook publishes latest update on content removals, fake accounts, hate speech, and more. Yeah, we get it. They are fighting hate speech. It's going to be an ongoing issue. Facebook closes loophole which enabled political activist sites to advertise as news sites. Okay, we get it. So they were faking, pretending they were news sites. They weren't. There's this paid for by disclaimer, which they're trying to avoid. Apparently people hate that if they're trying to manipulate public opinion. Who knew? I did. Thank you everyone on YouTube for hitting that like button. Much love, much thank you. TikTok, 3 likes, I like it. Tik Tok Takeover update, Twitter looking for a way back in, Microsoft facing staff backlash. So maybe Twitter's on the table for TikTok. Who knows? They might be in the running. Articles like this, I just cannot read them. I can't do it. 7 habits of highly ineffective SEO professionals. Why does anyone care about ineffective SEO professionals? I just don't understand. And DuckDuckGo, apparently, given this weird EU, I shouldn't say weird, this EU regulation fighting against Google's market dominance, attempting to take up market share. We'll see. Mobile obviously is the future. What will happen with DuckDuckGo taking over? I don't really know, but it is something to keep our eye on. So we did it. We streamed on both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. It was a little choppy, but these things, they can happen. Esther Sass, you're the best. Thank you for leaving that comment. So much thank you. I'll see you at BNI shortly. And I will attempt to figure out this restream thing as we are going to continue to stream on YouTube and Facebook. We may also be streaming on Twitter and Instagram all at the same time if I can figure it out, which I'm sure will not result in any sort of catastrophic IT issues. Anyway, thank you everybody for swinging on by every single day, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, live on Facebook and YouTube. If you want to check us out on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Send It Rising is all you need to search for us to appear. And I think it's about that time where we hit that outro. Later, marketers.